two sides.
Okay, Be'ezrat Hashem. So let's go over. Let's just set the ground for a few minutes so that we're ready for tonight, Be'ezrat Hashem. So now we're starting the third Haggadah of Magid. Okay, the third Haggadah of Magid start from Tse ulmad ma bikesh Lavan ha'arami la'asot leYaakov Avinu. That's the question. Okay, ma bikesh bikesh Lavan ha'arami la'asot leYaakov Avinu, and that's the longest portion of Magid. Okay, that's the longest Haggadah that we have. As we addressed it, the third Haggadah is a Haggadah that is focused on the lamdanut, on the freedom of the intellect. Yeah. So we had the freedom of the body, the freedom of the soul. Now we have the freedom of the intellect. Now, what's interesting is that if we look at the Pesukim that we're going to be learning in depth, it's Pesukim from Sefer Devarim, Parashat Kitavo. Okay. If you look at Parashat, the beginning of Parashat Kitavo, Perek Kaf Vav, it says the following. Pasuk says, "Ve'anita ve'amarta lifnei Hashem Elokecha arami oved avi." Right? We say, Ma bikesh Lavan ha'arami la'asot leYaakov, and we start and we go back to Lavan ha'arami. Okay? Arami oved avi, vayered Mitzrayma, vayagor sham bimte me'at, vayisham legoy gadol, atzum varav, vayar'u, otanu ha'mitzri vayanunu. Right? Our ancestors went down to Egypt. The Egyptians made our life miserable. Vayitnu alinu avodah kasha. They made us work very hard. Vanitzak el Hashem. We screamed to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Vayishma Hashem et kolenu, He heard us, Vayar et onienu v'et Amalek v'et lachatzen, Vayotzenu Hashem mitzrayim b'yad chazaka. Okay, 4 pesukim. Vayavienu el hamakom hazeh, vayiten lanu et haaretz hazot, eretz zavat chalom udvash. And He brought us to Eretz Israel, a land of blessing. So obviously the question we need to understand is here. It's the parasha of Bikurim. Bikurim is the offerings we used to bring to the Bet HaMikdash, okay, from the first fruits that came out of the harvest. We used to take all of this, go to the Bet HaMikdash, and offer it as an offering. And part of the tekes, part of the process was that we needed to say those 4 or 5 pesukim, okay? That we were in Egypt, and we were saved from Egypt, and the Egyptians wanted to hurt us, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought us to Eretz Israel, and here we are thanking you, right? So the question we need to understand is, why do we need to go to the parasha of Bikurim to talk about Yetziat Mitzrayim? Why don't we bring pesukim from Shemot? It's full of pesukim, right? Parashat Shemot, Vayera, Bo, Beshalach, so many psukim. No, we go to Arami Oved Avi. And also, why do we need to refer to Arami Oved Avi, to Lavan ha'arami? Okay, so in order to answer those 2 questions, first of all, we need to from a very basic and simple outlook. This is the only time in the Torah that we refer to what happened in Egypt without the live moment of what was happening. This is the Pesukim we say after, when we go to Eretz Israel, etc., etc. How do we refer to Yetziat Mitzrayim? These are the Pesukim. So, okay. That's number 1. Number 2, if we had to say and go over the Pesukim of Sefer Shemot or Parashiot in Shemot, we would be having a very long Seder, right? Because you have to go through every Pasuk. It's too long. It's way too long. And it's not anymore how you reflect to what happened. It is the witnessing of the Torah of what happened, right? So it's not a story, it's a fact. Here we need to go back to what happened and understand and learn from it. For that reason, the Baal HaGadah in this portion chooses those 4 pesukim. Number 1. Also, there's something beautiful that we learn from the choice of those pesukim is the context of why do we say those pesukim. The purpose is to be able to recognize when you have something, when you have a blessing, what happened in the past. Again and again, the same idea. Here we bring blessings, we bring bikurim to the Beit HaMikdash, but we need to remember that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has been with us and protecting us since Lavan HaArami. And we're going to touch after why Lavan. But once again, it's a context that reminds us that nothing should be taken for granted. And there's a history, and we are part of a history. Another point, if you look at the Parashat Bikurim, from the Ve'aya Kitavo, right? You will see the word Natan, Netina, giving over and over and over again. Okay? After, right? After that, right? Pasuk after pasuk after pasuk. Right? It's all about the netina. It's all about the netina. There is an interaction, a giving process in the dynamic we have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's important that when you give something, you appreciate what's given. Yetziat Mitzrayim, learning about Yetziat Mitzrayim is to recognize the intimate and personal relationship we have with Hashem and how He gives us. He gives us all the time. That's how you build an awareness and a hakarat hatov, a recognition, right, of the good HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving you. And from those 4 pesukim, now there will be 2 processes on an analytical level. What the word of those pesukim, so the keywords of the pesukim means, and the pesukim across the Torah that are referring to that specific word. This is the structure of the analytical process. So I will take the 4 pesukim, we're going to break it down. We're going to find the keywords, what it means. Now we know what it means. All the pesukim that refer to that, so that we can have an overall understanding of each pasuk or each keyword in that pasuk, coming to teach us that when you the freedom of analytics, right, the freedom of the mind is to be able to take a lesson, translate it in your own word so that you understand that lesson yourself. It becomes your version of the lesson. Put it back into context so that you can have the proper magnitude of the lesson. And that, in order to recognize, to be able to recognize the interaction you have with the intimate and personal connection you have, and with personal connection and interaction you have with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This, so that we can say, wow, look what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is giving me. This is the freedom of the intellect. The freedom of the intellect is to be able to recognize my connection with Hashem. Well, this is the overall set of the tone of that portion of the Haggadah. Bli neder, tonight we'll dive into the Arami of Edavi and get more into the different key psukim that we need to learn. And then, I'm sorry, once again.